Yes guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Hao majamaa ambao waliweza kuhit the president of the Republic of Kenya in Migori. Kumbuka nataka nikuonyeshe vizuri tena zaidi because hii video imeweza kuwa released place ambayo hii kiatu iliweza kutokea. Ukiangalia vizuri guys, pale kulikuwa na kikosi kilikuwa kimetulia wakati ambapo Rais William Ruto alikuwa anahutubia crowd pale Migori. And the statements za William Samoei Arap Ruto ama speeches za William Ruto ilikuwa mauongo because he was giving them a previous speech ambayo alikuwa amewapatia na hakuwa amefanya nini, ametimiza.
Leo pia nimekuja hapa, nimeambiwa kuna barabara yenu inatoka mahali na Nyamawanga hapa. Nyawanga. Alafu inaenda Madiaba. Alafu inaenda Odede. Mpaka iungane na Rapogi.
Umeona guys? Hiyo ni baada ya kupigwa mawe siku ya leo sasa. Amepigwa jana, ndio huyu anaendelea kudanganya leo. Unaona jamaa anajua mabarabara. So kumaanisha huyu jamaa anakuwa muongo, anataka ku entertain hao majamaa. Anataka kuwachekesha tu. Unaona watu wangu? Sasa jamaa anataja mabarabara, ameshika mabarabara za huko pia majina. So moments anataja hivyo, watu wanacheka, then anaendelea kutaka kuwin hiyo support. Unaona watu wangu? Hivyo ndio jamaa aliboeshwa jana hawa vijana upande wa Migori County. Na ndio maana unaona guys, hama jamaa wakawa bored na Rais William Ruto. Mambo ya mbolea, eti bei ya mbolea, mambo ya maisha gharama. Unaona watu wangu? So, hii ndio place hiyo kiatu ilitokea, na hii kiatu inasemekana ya kwamba pia ilikuwa imeingizwa ndani nini? Ilikuwa imeingizwa mawe ndani ili ku make sure inja the president of the Republic of Kenya. Kumaanisha hao majamaa wamechoka. They want even to assassinate the president. Because uliangalia ile wakati Gen Z waliingianga parliament, walikuwa na intention na wabunge wengi ambao walikuwa watu kama kina Oscar Sudi, Kimani Chungwa. Unaona Oscar Sudi venye alishambuliwa ile business yake. Kimani Chungwa kachomewa CDF office because huwa wanaongea vibaya. Na wakati ambapo saizi mambo yakiharibika tena, hao ndo wabunge, hawa vijana huwa na target. Unaona watu wangu? So yesterday they targeted the president face to face, hapo tu karibu. Na ukiangalia hii kiatu ilitokea pale, I want to observe keenly. Umeona venye crowd iko guys? Nataka uangalie tu keenly. Then umeona rais alikuwa anahutubia kisha ikatupwa. Umeona watu wangu? Kisha ikatupwa, ikatoka, ikienda, then the president akaamua kuiblock. Unaona watu wangu? So wakati rais aliamua kublock, then security team ya William Samoei Arap Ruto ikajam, then they rushed faster kuangalia hiyo kikosi pale. Wakaamua kuonja hao majamaa pale. Unaona watu wangu? Wakaamua kuonja hawa Gen Z ambao walikuwa wamesimama pale.
Wachana na hawa wananchi. Wachana na hawa.
That's why unaona Rais William Ruto akaanza kusema kwamba achana na hawa vijana. But mambo yaliharibika. But now guys, people are just asking, hii security team ilikuwa mbali aje? Wakati ambapo Rais William Ruto ni rais ambaye pia anakuanga na protection ya hali ya juu. Ukiangalia wakati ambapo rais huwa ana travel, anakuanga na security. Wakati ambapo anashuka kwa gari yake, anakuanga na security tight. Unaona watu wangu? Na yeye ndo the most president ambaye anaprotektiwa majuu pamoja na Ibrahim Traore wa Burkina Faso. Unaona watu wangu? And yesterday cha kushangaza ni kwamba rais ana lingwa kiatu. Wachana na hao wananchi. Kumaanisha tulikuwa tunaambiwa kwamba hawa security team ya William Ruto huwa wana sense danger 5 kilometers away the president of the Republic of Kenya. Why is it that hawako wamesensi mambo ya kiatu? Wanasema wanakuja kukagua kabla rais aweze kuingia pale. Kwa nini hawako wamekagua na kurealize kuna kitu kibaya? Imagine ingekuwa sasa ni risasi. Unaona rais jana angekuwa ashamalizwa completely. Story yake ingekuwa imeisha. But ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba guys, ama jamaa wamechoka na hii serikali ya William Samoei Arap Ruto. But guys, tukiendelea zaidi, tunataka tuangalie mambo jinsi ambavyo yanachemka hapa nchini Kenya pia. Tukiendelea zaidi, ensure kwanza umelike video because umekuwa ukisupport hii channel watu wangu. Na nilikwambia without your support hii channel itakuwa inazima tu completely. Kwa hivyo nasema thanks kwa hiyo like yako ambayo umeweza kulike hii video. Na zile moments tena mnaenda kulike guys, acha Mungu aweze kukuonekania na kupiganie kwa kila jambo siku ya leo. Unaona watu wangu. Kwa hivyo guys, ukiangalia today response ya close allies wa Rigathi Gachagua and even to the entire Kenyans about hiyo incident ya upande wa Migori County. Rais kupigwa kiatu. So, kuna huyu anasema kwamba hii ni tit for tat. Hii ni fair game. Because tit for tat is a fair game. Because why is it that William Ruto decided to insult the former president Uhuru Kenyatta? And isitosha kwamba serikali ya William Ruto imekuwa ikiwitness maovu yakifanyika. Kama ikifo ya member of parliament from Kasipul, huyu Charles Ong'ondo, kinasikitisha sana. Na hiyo ndo kitu kiliweza kuchangia pakubwa hawa watu wa Nyanza kuharas the president. Unaona watu wangu, sikiza.
But I was following online and I also joined my colleagues in condemning that incident, the shoe throwing incident at the president. And of course I agree with all of them that the president is the symbol of unity for the country, and anything happening to him then would affect the nation in a big way, and we pray that such an incident does not happen again. However, even as I say that, even as we talk about the security of the president, I think it's also important for us to say that the president also needs to reduce car roof appearances. Because of course the security, when the president, his security, when he's on car roof, of course I believe, although I'm not a security, I don't have a security background, I believe that it makes it very complicated even for his security to ensure that he's secure from, from these crowds and any ill intentioned person that may be amongst the crowds. And so I think it's important, like I've said, that he reduces his car roof appearances, stick to the office, work, develop policies, so that we feel him through through implementation of projects and the ideas that are brought to him by his very many advisors, and not through car roofs. I also had I listened to my brother Nelson Koech say that people or imply that people are not like they are not like respecting this presidency the way it has been respected before. But I think we also have challenges. I think the president also needs to work on this, and I don't blame him, but he needs to work on it, because when you see the president leading the song Kasungu somewhere in Dagoretti, and you also the seriousness of that office, the stature of that office also gets affected.
What do you think he should do when people are making fun of him with that song and name? What
I think other people, some in my view, other people, his soldiers, people like Koech here, can deal with that. it should not be the president dealing with it direct, because when you are leading Kasongo in front of the crowds, then those crowds start believing or thinking that the president is just another person, and so even when you throw a shoe at him, I mean, it's that body that leads some song in the streets, and so you know the stature of the president.
Throwing a shoe at whoever is such an insult, isn't it?
No. I agree totally, Sam, and I have condemned it with the strongest terms possible. But what I'm saying is the stature of the president also. The president has a responsibility to ensure that the respect, the stature of that office is maintained. And through the many things that he does. Of course, we know that President Ruto is a very sociable person, and even when he was campaigning, he was spotted stopping his motorcade to just buy some roast maize somewhere to show how connected he was with the common man. It could have been, just a scheme, but then I think he needs to know that now he's president and must start behaving like the president. And some allow me also to say, I had Nelson Koech, I don't know why I keep calling him Koech, say that Riggy G yesterday threatened the president and they warned him not to visit the mountain. I was in that meeting. Riggy G did not tell the president not to come to the mountain. He only said that if the president's brigade, and Kibagedi was there, he can tell you, if the president's brigade continue insulting President Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta, that he would also instruct the people of Mount Kenya when President Ruto visits there to also insult him, because tit for tat is a fair game. So he did not at any particular moment.
I know you're quoting him, but how does that help the country?
No, it helps the country. I mean, a tit for tat is a fair game. When you send people... No, the responsibility of helping the country, some should not just lie with Rigathi Gachagua. The first person that must ensure that the country is helped, so to say, is the president, who has the mandate of Kenyans. And so if the president's men... Allow me to finish this statement, Sam.
Who is not a president, by the way.
Yes.
When his foot soldiers are instructed to respond with insults to the president and his brigade, how does that help?
It will help stop somebody thinking that they have the monopoly of insults. That's how it will help. And ultimately stop insults against President Kenyatta. Okay. So, it is toe for a toe, eye for an eye, Sam. And if that works to stop...
Is that the politics you want to...
No. Sam, what I'm saying, Sam, is you're asking how it will help the country. It will help the country in ensuring that insults to the former president stop, because that is the only way it can stop. So that is how it will help the country, in my view.
All right, sure.
Before you ask me my question, in terms of, I think we should jelly between 90-year-old and the 10-year-old. But I fully understand what Mheshimiwa is alluding to in terms of we have so much youth energy, and you can see now they're even misdirecting the energy into throwing shoes in presidential meetings. There are so many young people and so many professionals. And I think what he's saying, which I think is extremely important, is that we should come to the stage and leave the stage, at least do our contribution and leave, not suffocate and sort of suppress the youthful energy that is also supposed to be used here in terms of age. Yes. But everything else, I do agree. I mean, I don't understand why the people of Nyanza are actually lying to William Ruto, especially the Luo Nyanza. When you look at what happened in Migori, prior to that, you saw how the Homa Bay County governor was lamenting about the assassination of the MP, and then Raila Odinga was absent. I mean, I don't understand why the people of Luo Nyanza actually are sort of wanapanga president. I don't understand why. This is the first time they are doing it. I can understand that they want to be in government and they also want to be part of the national cake, as has been said by Oburu Odinga every other time he holds a mic. That, I think, nobody can resist. You can see Makau Mutua has also gone into, I mean, earning salary and enjoying a piece of the nation's cake. It's not some gift from the sitting president. It's your right. It's your right to work. It's your right to be employed. But in terms of we support you for 2027 and we support you, politically. You see, you and me have a duty to actually support the president. That's a fact. You and me have a duty to support the president, maintain our sovereignty, the color of the country, and we move forward our economy. We all have that duty.
Okay.
But going to the extent of saying it's only you, we want you, and then at the same time you realize the president is actually using very strong words against the same people who are supporting him. Such words like tutawahamisha. So why is this part of our country lying to the president that we are with you, and then you find those kind of skirmishes?
Is it an indication of President William Ruto's precarious position, if at all we call it that, in the broad-based arrangement, that he goes to Luo Nyanza, the kind of treatment we see even with the shoe throwing, the statements being given by the politicians there, them turning development tour into one to discuss ODM issues in front of the president?
Okay, partly, but I look at it this way. When a community decides to stand with you as a community, it means they have made that decision. And once they have made that decision, you also using your intelligence to know whether it is true, they have made that decision fully. So it is not necessarily an indicator of precarious situation of the president in a whole nation, but I am focusing on the Luo Nyanza treatment of his Migori tour, for example, and the way Gladys Wanga was lamenting. So yes, if, look at, I'm sorry, I'm not digressing, but look at the Kisii, for example, the way they stood with the Kenyatta family, original Kenyatta family. Then they came in, they were not very cozy with Moi, but, then they came to Uhuru, and the way they stood together with him. So they don't change. And if that president comes to that region, he's received with tremendous appreciation and passion. So why now, when you say that we have given you room in government, you come from Luo Nyanza, how do they treat the president that way? I mean, that is unacceptable. And like I found Mheshimiwa was talking, I think there are some things that are basic. You don't throw objects to the head of state. Whether he is in the most intimidating region, you don't go that extent, because then it means something else. Even for our, global view, the way people look at us, you don't throw objects to the head of state. That's one. But at the same time, Fred, I wish we can understand that Kenya is one of the most trained countries in terms of intelligence. In fact, I can easily tell you that some people in the circle of the president who are in charge of intelligence either knew or should have known that there is likely to be something wrong untoward from that side. And they must protect the president. We cannot be... You saw what happened in the US. Of course, accidents can happen all over, but intelligence around the president is tamper-proof. Even Trump was then not a president. You can imagine if it was the actual, sitting president. You don't do that. Of course, that happened in Iraq one time when people threw shoes also to George Bush. But again, you can see that it's in a room, it is journalists, so we can pick out quickly it is journalist so-and-so who has thrown the shoes. So, but in such public gatherings, I think also the head of state, and we said this before, he should not be charging the crowd towards campaigns this early.
Do you think it does too much, is too available? Because I've seen some criticism on social media that the president is everywhere. He's meeting people every day. People are now too used to him.
But we've said this, and he has been criticized for engaging on vehicle, rooftops and going all over, which could be okay if there was a specific, either church attendance or development activity. But the urge to go into the rooftop of a car every other time to greet every Tom, Dick, and Harry is actually discrediting the presidency. And we never saw this in the past. It is something developing, and it's coming in more like an exchange with youth, an exchange with people, telling them off, and bringing out what is not exactly a presidential in terms of decorum.
Right. The front page of the Standard, the big headline this morning is Ruto